Model A. Woo! Long story short, the C10 has been sold last minute. Reason being is because the house is on the market. Been on the market 3 days. Someone put an offer in for the asking price, which we accepted. So I haven't got time. Unfortunately, I haven't got time to sort the C10 out. Now, it needed more work than I was told it needed when I purchased it. However, I listed it for a lot less than what I paid. I had a nice guy come out. Had a good look. He's an engineer by trade. He was rolling underneath the truck. Had a good look round, poke around, whatnot. He was happy it was mostly there. He was happy with the whole lot. He was happy with what he needs to do with it. So, yeah, it's got to a good home.
2 seconds later.
I weren't going to buy anything.
What lying for?
I weren't going to buy anything because obviously I've sold a house and I'm kind of in the process of moving. However, I've really wanted a Model A for years and years and years, and this is a steel body. It's all about the diesel burners. So we're going to get a big derv in there, hopefully, which is M57, which is down here. Now, I'm not putting it in properly. I'm literally doing it for transport, but I do have to cut off the engine mounts. I've kind of ragged off one of the engine mounts and spotted something straight away. My usual gripe is poo welding. Now, I used to poo weld years and years ago, and then kept welding, and then slowly got less poo. But stuff like this, that holds your engine mount together, right? Big fat bracket, big biff of a bracket on the top that I've cut through. And then as you can see, I take out the ghosty bit. As you can see, no penetration on that whatsoever.
That's what she said.
Literally, as soon as I cut through the top, the bottom fell away. So, yeah, kind of glad I'm cutting those off. So yeah, I've got to go through, I'm going to cut the other one off, and then I'm going to see if the engine fits in length. So chop the, I've chopped them down a little bit because kind of they need to be cut out of the chassis, but I just don't have time at the minute. But look at the state of it. Look at that. So yeah, they're the mounts that have come off of the car. They're supposed to be holding the engine in. It wouldn't hold in a Nissan Micro engine, let alone a, well, to be fair, it probably would hold a V8 in because they're pants. But certainly not going to hold that in. So yeah, I've just basically chopped them out, and then it's a case of trying to wangle my engine in there roughly, and then just tack on some engine mounts for the time being. Right, I've been busy on the grinder, the angle grinder, not the app. Trying to clean up these front rails or front horns, whatever you want to call them. Man, the guy that's been welding it, fuck me. I don't know what to say. If you could see where it was cracking anyway, below kind of the junk weld. It's not even been on the road, so that's quite worrying. But you see by the boxing plate, you'll see it's cracked there. Cracked all the way down here. So then I pulled off the mount that was here, because it was a mounting, and it's just pulled this completely straight out. I mean, it doesn't even look like it's been welded down there. Don't know the best course of action at the minute with those. So yeah, plan is to kind of just weld up kind of this junk bit first, work from here, and at least I know kind of 10% of the chassis is welded properly, just the other 90% to go. Ugh. Right, so kind of losing the will to live now. As you'll see, I've moved the garage around briefly just to be able to kind of get around the chassis. Took the cab off, I call it cab, the body, whatever. I took that off thinking, ooh, it's not hopefully going to be too bad. And then, reality hit.
No.
It is actually poo. The whole thing is poo. Poo. Now, the geezer that I bought it off, he bought it off someone else, and the bloke that he bought it off, after I fully restored it, ready for paint. I've got this remarkable skill for buying absolute poo things, by the looks of it. So, I welded the front up, thinking, oh, just weld that in. It's probably only going to be the bits that are welded to it. Realised, obviously, I've got to go up the box section, which is annoying, so I've got to kind of strip it down to then clean all the weld out and TIG weld it. And then I just started looking at the suspension and thought, Jesus Christ, how the hell was this ready to go on the road? But it's kind of scary because there are things out there that are done to this kind of standard and people are running them. So yeah, other than the guys use wood for the cab. Now, I know obviously you would use wood on a Model A. However, you use things like oak, not pine wood. So that probably, as soon as that's soggy, that's going to rot away. And yeah, most of it's not welded. I'm surprised that 9-inch axle is realistically still on it, to be honest. But yeah, let me flip the camera around, kind of show you what I normally say what I'm working with, but I'm not actually working with anything at the minute. So yeah, flip the camera around and show you kind of how poo this is. I'm at a bit of a quandary, really. Legitimately don't know where to start with it. Do I start by making all the new cross sections or cross braces and stuff and weld them into something that's not welded very well? Or do I cut out all the welds, try and repair them, but all the braces that are in it currently are not bracing anything? So it's a bit of a nightmare. I think what I'm going to have to do is probably tack some temporary braces on top of the frame, strip it all down, obviously tap those on, and then maybe start digging out some welds in areas where I'm putting bracing in, and then properly weld bracing in. And yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare scenario, to be honest, because obviously I was expecting it realistically just to chuck the engine in, get a prop made, and then kind of paint the body and just use it. That was kind of what it was bought as. But like I say, I've obviously got one of these secret specialist powers of just buying absolute poo. So I've bought something that's poo, months and months and months of sorting it out, and yeah, then I'll probably be sick of it and probably sell it. So that is kind of the usual circle of life that I have in this garage. But yeah, I've got to get it kind of at least the chassis half decent before I move, which is probably about 4 weeks. So stick with me. I'm going to try and absolutely blast this best way possible. But yeah, kind of wish I'd started from scratch with on CAD, because obviously I wouldn't be repairing someone else's work and it'd be a lot quicker. But at the same time, I've not got time to wait for someone to make me designs I need on CAD anyway. So yeah, oh god, wish me luck. Absolute poo. So I went in the house and had to make some decisions. Now, decisions were made on the basis I printed off a load of kind of plans and ordered some new steel. I'm going to basically get rid of this chassis. The chassis is beyond repair because I've got to go around, I've got to plasma cut a lot of kind of the brackets off, which is obviously going to introduce heat into a really old frame. I've got to cut bits off. I've got to cut out all his welds all the way down both sides. So that's kind of 4 lengths of welds, top and bottom. And to be honest, although it's not welded, there's blobs of weld where there shouldn't be welds. So obviously that needs cleaning back. By the time I've done that, the amount of heat that's going to be introduced into already something that I kind of suspect is bent anyway. I'm better off starting to scratch. So looking at it measurement wise, that front clip looks very slightly in one side. So if you look at it, it's kind of like not fully straight.
I said, well, you ain't that straight.
And there's a bit of a dent in one of the frame rails over here. So I'm not overly confident it's straight, which is why obviously I've printed out the plans to then measure it. But when I was in there, I just got distracted. I thought I just need to order some steel, to be honest. So I'm going to make it exactly the same. I'm going to do a pattern. I'm going to do a pattern chassis on it. The only difference is going to be, obviously, it's going to be fully boxed. And any of the bolt holes that go through, like where you drop the bolts through, are not going to go through the chassis. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the chassis out. I'm going to put crush tubes in, TIG weld those in. So essentially it's going to keep the chassis watertight. I'm going to do a proper job. The other thing I'm going to do, so I'm obviously going to use the independent front suspension. The gearbox cross member I'm going to make from scratch because it's pointless me cutting that one out. That's been butchered. This tube here I'm going to cut out, but that's aftermarket. And I'm probably going to shorten the chassis very slightly in there because I'm going to have to take a little bit of length off those pipes. And then the rear cross member, which is this bit here, don't think we're going to be using that, just simply again because it's been welded up pretty badly. And the way that the rear kind of shock mounts have been done are not good. So even if I cut those off, it's not good at all. So Plan for that is probably either a straight bit of CDS, which is big old beefy roll cage material, or I may decide to put a kink in it to kind of go around the pumpkin of the pumpkin of the axle itself. Now, I don't know, because I'm kind of going to be high up anyway with this frame. I'm going to kind of dogleg it or Z it at the back. So I might just go with a straight line, to be honest. And the reason I need to go for a dogleg is because the guy that's ordered the coilovers has ordered them too long, really. And they kind of need to be, they're right on the very edge of being dropped as low as they'll go. So I kind of need to move the top point for the coilovers higher, so then I can wind the coilovers up a bit. It's still low, but then I've got better suspension trouble. So yeah, it's a nightmare. It's been cobbled together, and basically it's junk. So cut out what I need. That's going to go to a scrap man, and I'm going to fabricate a brand new pattern chassis, Model A, following the proper measurements as opposed to kind of the bent frame. And yeah, it'll be exactly the same. It's a lot of work. It's not going to look any different. And yeah, it is what it is. Kind of didn't want to have to do that. This was bought as a project that just required painting and building up. And it's actually turned into a full restoration, as you'll see by kind of the problems I've already found so far. And I've not even rolled around underneath that cap yet. So, pants! Watch what you buy, folks.